I am not sure whether I want to sell my current condo or if I want to rent it out. What do you think? Like, what are some things I should be considering?
Yeah, how to navigate that conversation, because there will be things that come up, you know? So it's entirely personal. I would love for everybody to start their real estate empire and hold on to it if you have the ability. Everybody with the COVID interest rates, it may make sense for you to hold on to it if you can. I would ask yourself, one, do you want to be a property manager? That's 2 properties that you're going to have things breaking on you. Are you going to be responsible? Are you going to live nearby after moving? Do you want to hire a property management company to kind of be that buffer and handle things for you? That might be great, but is it in budget? You know, because they will take a portion. Will it bring you a lot more stress than it's worth?
Yeah.
You know, so
all really good things to consider. And in my personal case for this particular property, I'm not sure I'd want to be a property manager. So yeah, definitely something worth considering.
One other thing I'll add is appreciation over time. If it's a condo, we'll look at what other properties are renting for, how it's appreciated over the last 5-10 years. You know, the last 5 years since 2020 may not be a good picture of what the next 5 years are going to look like. So yeah, will it appreciate over time maybe as quickly? Rather, a townhome or single family home, yeah, if you can hold on to it, try.
What if I find a home before mine sells?
The ideal scenario is you can move out and we can get the home ready. We can put a coat of paint on it, we can stage it, because statistically it's going to sell for more without all the personal items in it. And if we can do a little work to get it ready.
That you know of, are there any local grants, credits, or programs for first-time home buyers that you find yourself recommending to your clients?
Literally every lender offers different products. Depending on where you are at financially or on your home buying journey, there are a lot of first-time home buyer programs. I have one lender who can offer up to $10,000 toward closing costs, depending on where they live now. You know, I have another lender who can offer up to that amount based on where you're moving. There are little classes you can take to get $2,000-$3,000 off closing costs. I mean, there are little things you can do to cut costs down. So you're not only looking for like who's a good fit for me and who's going to be available on nights and weekends, but also who can save me money.
Yeah, what's the best product for me?
Yes.
So it sounds like one of the questions that potential buyers should be asking their agent is, who are your lender partners? Like, what kind of programs do each of them have?
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk to them.
I mean, I've worked with dozens of lenders and they can all get the job done. I have a short list for a reason. And it's who has saved my client a lot of money, who has sort of saved the deal if something has gone awry, you know, who's been able to make this work and figure it out. And we're a team together. I call it your resource team, me, the lender, and my client. You know, and it matters. The team matters.
Absolutely. What would you say for lenders specifically, like no matter who it is, what do they all have in common that makes them better than lenders you choose not to partner with?
They work nights and weekends when real estate happens. When you get home from work, you know, the bank closes at 5. So if we're talking big bank, or an online lender, you know, the day's over at 5, you may not hear from them again until Monday, and you may want to write an offer and we need a revised pre-approval letter. We want them to run numbers for you so you can see if it makes sense for your budget to offer, and the offer deadline is Sunday. I love for the lender to call after I submit an offer and vouch for my client. I mean, that goes a long way.
Totally.
Again, the resource team, we kind of appear united and over communicate.
For those who don't know, the appraisal is ordered by the lender, not just ordered by them, but it's required by the lender. And if they don't have local relationships with the local appraisers on the ground, you know, that can be a deal killer. Appraisal.
Yeah, especially in a multiple offer situation where you have some buyers who are waiving appraisal completely. You know, by doing that, you're saying, I will make up a gap if this comes in low.
Yeah.
That can be detrimental to a deal and to someone's finances.
Money to make up the gap.
Yeah. So it really matters. I've gotten calls from appraisers were like, oh yeah, I appraised that house down the street. That's a good comp. You know, I'm like, perfect. You already know.
That's
you know all of these
fantastic.
houses. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So someone
Love to
with-
hear it.
Yeah, local expertise. So yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And coming from lending myself, like I can also completely agree with you.
Yeah.
So being a Virginia realtor,
Mhm.
what are contingencies that are typical that you're seeing in Virginia contracts right now?
So the three big ones are inspection, appraisal, financing.
Mm-hmm.
In COVID times, though we try to forget them, we did get some insanely low interest rates. Money was really cheap, so everybody was buying up houses left and right. But what that did was we were seeing 30 offers per one home. It was painful to be a buyer to try and get in, but if you could get in, amazing. So you would see people waiving those. What I'll add regarding inspection is, you know, I've gotten new buyers who come to me and they say, I heard horror stories about waiving an inspection. I will never waive an inspection. And I'm like, good, I will not let you waive an inspection.
Yeah.
You will get one. It's just whether the offer is contingent on it.
Right.
So in Northern Virginia, we were high demand, a little aggressive, multiple offers. So we have started leveraging pre-offer inspections over the last several years.
Wow.
So before even submitting an offer, a seller may allow you to hire an inspector for an hour, 30 minutes to come in and look at the big ticket items, and the buyer can take notes, and you can decide if you want to make an offer on the home or not based on that. And that allows you to waive the inspection contingency, and that for the seller may be a little more attractive, like, oh, this person's not going to back out for this reason or try to negotiate with me. You know, this will be my bottom line, period, when we get to the closing table. So yeah, inspection, financing, appraisal, anything else, I mean, everything in the contract is a negotiation point.
So this pre-inspection that you're talking about, that's something that you're seeing now after COVID has passed?
So still, yes.
Okay,
I
wow.
have, for the last 5 years, I've been regularly doing pre-offer inspections with clients, or I've attended them anyway.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
I've been to real estate conferences, you know, in other parts of the country and interacted with agents in other markets, and they're
Yeah.
like, what's that? I'm like, oh my gosh, it is like the only way to get an offer accepted in spring in some
Yeah,
cases, you know,
seriously.
but I also can't emphasize enough, I'll explain all of these options to my buyers, but you never have to do anything you don't want to do. The buyer's the decision maker. I help with process, and you know, if I get on the phone with a listing agent and hear, okay, they have 5 offers and someone's already done a pre-inspection, I help them weigh pros and cons and say, okay, if you do this, this is what it means. If you don't do it, that's okay. You know, if you're not comfortable, no problem. You know, here are other ways we can make your offer a little bit more attractive.
How do you usually negotiate when inventory is low or competition is high?
Depends if I'm representing a buyer or a seller.
Okay.
When you're in a multiple offer situation, if it is a high demand season in the year, it's really, how can we make our offer the prettiest belle at the ball? What can we do? You know, there are all these reels and, I don't know, videos from 2021, 2022 of like, okay, here's my firstborn, and or like, this is an apple, you know what it tastes like do you want it or not?
Yeah.
And I'll pay $1 million for it, you
Yeah.
know? So, but there are ways to build in the protections for the buyer, and that pre-inspection, for example, is one example. For the seller, it's, are you making sure no stone is left unturned? You know, if anybody has called me, I will call them back and I'll let them know a status update. You know, if anybody's shown any sort of interest, I don't just want to accept what I have. I want to make sure I've given every buyer an opportunity, because I want to make sure the seller has the very best offer they could get.
Yeah. Next question. What
Ready.
upgrades in a home, in your opinion, usually have the best resale value?
Kitchens and bathrooms sell homes, followed by flooring. I think that's always going to be worth the investment. If you're prepping a home to sell, if the carpet needs to be replaced, redo the carpet. If we can fix some grout in the bathroom, if we can put a coat of paint on some cabinet. Anything, the kitchen, the bathroom are going to sell the home. And so if you're debating a kitchen reno project, that's usually going to be worth the money.
Yeah.
But maybe a pool is a good example of, okay, you can spend however much it costs to put it in. Will you get that back 100% when you go to sell it? Maybe not.
Okay, Andy, so how do you make the experience of buying or selling a home feel different for your clients compared to other agents?
For me, it's the time invested in really hand-holding.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. I think folks who need to process things and kind of hop on the call and talk it out, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
This is a huge purchase. It's very scary. It may not seem like it'll be emotional. It's incredibly emotional. And even when my husband and I bought our house, he was emotional. I was like, "Guy, get it together." What? Wait, come on. You see me do this all the time.
Right.
No, but it is emotional. Yes, you want somebody who knows the market really well. You want somebody who knows the contract really well, and who will fight for you in a negotiation, who will put the protections in the contract for you.
Yeah.
So nothing hits the fan. But ultimately, I think you do need an empath. You do need somebody who actually cares.
Yeah.
Because inevitably, you'll need the support.
Yeah, 100%. When I've done the closings for you and your clients, it's very, very clear that you do care. And I think it's one of the many things that makes you a great agent. And I completely agree. As an empath myself, which it can be a blessing and a curse.
Oh my gosh.
For so many reasons.
I keep our cups full.
100%. 100%. I think, but I think the pros of it are like, our clients are going to have the best experience because we are emotionally invested in this with them, and want them to feel safe and secure every step of the way. And I think you do a good job of showing
saying that.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true.
When I first got into the industry, I was like, I need to be a shark. I have to put on this persona, of a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And that is not what gets a deal done. That's not what gets it to the closing table when things get hard, or stuff goes awry. You have to be able to play well in the sandbox.
Yeah.
I've found that time and time again. Being a team player with the agent on the other side is what gets the deal done at the end of the day.
100%.
You don't build bridges aren't built by making enemies,
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Because just like your client, you're working with so many people on the back end to make this happen and make it to the finish line. So yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. So in your opinion, what is a real estate term or concept that buyers and sellers struggle to understand the most, and how do you break that down for them?
So several. I think the whole process is learning, and you're trying to not make people drink from the fire hose.
Yeah.
So you're like, let me just drop nuggets where appropriate so we don't get off the call and they're completely overwhelmed and change their mind.
Right.
But yeah, it's little steps along the way. I would say a big one would maybe be the earnest money deposit. I think most people plan for a down payment, whether you're putting 5, 10, 20% down, whatever it is, but you're not really planning on that deposit and closing costs.
Yeah.
So I describe it as, it's earnest money deposit, also known as a good faith deposit. It's your skin in the game.
Yeah.
When you go under contract, a title company will reach out and say, hey, congratulations. Also, here are your wire instructions.
Yep.
And that money goes into an escrow account. So if you watch shows like Selling Sunset, when they say we're in escrow, this is what they're talking about. And it sits in an escrow account until you get to closing. And that covers your closing costs. For the most part, it can. So closing costs are between 2.5% and 3% of the sales price. You don't have to put that down for your earnest money deposit. I would say a minimum of 1% for your offer to be respected. Or you can do a lot more. The earnest money deposit's a line item in the contract where you can really show some financial chops and really show how serious you are about making an offer, and the seller choosing you.
What is one thing that you do when you first meet with a client, like a prospective client, maybe a new buyer or seller, that you think most agents overlook, but you believe it makes a lasting impression?
That first call is actually, well, we may have an intro call that's really quick, or we text, but I'm always all about, all right, let's actually hop on an extended call, maybe a Zoom or a coffee, and it'll be about 45 minutes to an hour. It's pretty in depth, and it's not, when I first got into the business, I had no idea how to handle this conversation. I'm just like, okay, what are you looking for in a home?
Yeah.
This is not that conversation at all. We will talk about the must-haves, how many beds, how many baths, but it's really an opportunity for me to educate on the process and what you're going to expect, what the market looks like in Virginia, DC, or Maryland, the seasonality of the market, what it costs to buy. This is how much an inspection costs.
Yeah.
This is what an earnest money deposit is. Things like that. And then I also look at past sales, and I will pull up a map and I will type in their criteria, and we'll look at the past 6 months of sales, and I'll show people, instead of just saying, and you have to trust me, this home sold for over and you need to escalate, and it's going to sell in this many days. It's kind of like, I have to demonstrate that. And one way to do it is to look at the past 6 months of sales, because that's a good indicator of what you can expect for the next 6 months. So we'll look at what you can get for your money in different locations, and as we're talking, it's not me talking the whole time. They're talking a lot, how much info can I extract out of you? But it is an opportunity to educate. So when they get off the call, whether they want to work with me or not, they have learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to find a personality fit. I want someone to find someone they're going to be comfy with, because we're going to be talking a lot.
That's very true.
But yeah, if I have the 45 minutes to an hour, I want you to take a lot away from it, whether I'm a good fit or not.
That's so valuable, and probably like you said in the beginning, you thought that first call when you were a new agent was, what are you looking for in a home?
Yeah,
I'm
like, great, okay,
yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I'll find it.
But what you're describing is an entirely different conversation before you even get there, of like, okay, before we even get to like, what are you looking for in a home? We're going to talk about, like, if you choose to go through with this is what the process looks like. This is what the market currently looks like. Here are all the steps you'll need to complete, and here are the qualifications you'll need to have.
Yes.
Sound good? Okay.
Yeah.
Now what are you looking for in a home?
Because we'll find it,
And that's a big conversation.
Yes.
That first one.
And I work with a lot of people who are not ready to buy in that moment. I've spoken with people a year, even 2 years out. It's been an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, I believe
I'm
it.
like, let's just hop on a call and do some goal setting and let you know what you can plan for. Because I think a lot of people are just typing it, home buying process, or doing a budget calculator online. I'm like, I have resources for that. You do not have to do this alone.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with a lender. They're really nice, and they're going to be helpful and giving of time. This is similar. I'm just here as a resource.
Definitely. When things inevitably go wrong, how do you keep your clients confident with stuff like that?
My colleagues and I have described it as like you're a sponge as an agent. You kind of absorb a lot. I do try to carry a lot, probably way more than I should. And I have to remind myself, this is not your purchase, as much as you care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to sugarcoat something I want, because again, they're the decision maker and this is their purchase. But it comes with experience to say, oh, we're absolutely going to get through this. Here, there are solutions. This is what's happening. But I don't just call in a panic and say, hey, this is what's going on. I will share what's going on, and then I'll share the solution. Okay, here's the path forward,
Exactly.
And this happens, and you have title working on it, you have the lender working on it, you have me working on it, it's going to be okay.
No, I love that. Communication, solutions, and reassurance.
I always advise my clients, no fear-based decisions.
Yeah.
And if there's fear, it's because maybe there's a lack of understanding somewhere.
I like that. No,
so what can I answer for you? Yeah. I want you to make an educated decision. If it's to back out, I'm going to be right there with you. I fully support you. Let's do it. But make that decision with all of the information.
Yeah. Know what you're getting into, or out of, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's good. Have you built any post-closing traditions or client appreciation strategies that strengthen your relationships?
Yes. For me, it's a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been lucky enough to, have a referral-based business. So if you have a good experience, then you ask a friend, or you give my contact info to a friend. And so I have magically had just a whole client base of people that I get along with really, really well.
That's incredible.
I really enjoy spending time with a lot of my clients.
Yeah.
And so after, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I want to be friends with these people. What do I want to do to spend time with someone? And so, yes, my husband and I host a lot of backyard kind of cookouts.
Mm-hmm.
And they're casual, but I extend it to clients too and say, come hang out, and
That's
you can
awesome.
meet my husband and pet my dogs and meet my friends in the neighborhood, come meet some new neighbors.
Yeah.
And I love to do that. It's really fun to host. I do a lot of client dinners, again.
That's
just the
amazing.
one-on-one time, just to say, hey, we spent months talking almost every day, and now we haven't spoken in a month or a few. Another thing that I do are housewarming parties, or at least I offer.
Mm-hmm.
Once we're a few months in, I say, okay, are you up for a housewarming party? I'm happy to help throw it. I'll send the evites.
Yeah.
I will help organize catering.
Oh my gosh.
I'll bring your favorite drink.
I love that.
Yes, and it's like sort of the fun part of the job, because yes, you get to meet their people, but you get to see how they put their personal touch on the home.
Yeah, totally.
And they're so excited to show it off too, and it always looks so good. And yeah, it just makes it feel all the more special to see them living and doing life in it,
Oh my gosh,
And
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so smart. Do you ever recommend taking the first offer, even if it comes in fast?
Do I love the word recommend? I don't know. So yes, first offer, I have had clients take the first offer, because sometimes the first offer is the best offer. That's a buyer who has likely been scanning the neighborhood for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They know their budget, they have their pre-approval, they want to be aggressive, and that goes a long way. But yeah, I will talk to them. I'll talk them through pros and cons. How much interest have you received? How many showings do we have over the weekend? It kind of goes back to, you want to give every buyer the opportunity to see it. But yeah, that first buyer, the one who writes first, I personally, when I'm representing a buyer, I want to be the first offer.
Yeah.
Because it gives off an impression. It shows
Totally.
you're serious, that you're willing to be aggressive, and how badly you want it. And so, versus maybe someone who's kind of casually looking through the open house and isn't sure, maybe they're not as ready. So yeah, don't sleep on the first offer.
Okay, rapid fire questions.
Okay.
What is a red flag in a listing photo?
A toilet seat up?
Ew.
Put it down.
Put it down.
Yeah. what are we showing off
kidding
here? Yeah, no.
Ew, that's so true. a red flag.
Yeah.
Open house must have snacks, scent, or music.
So yes, yes, and yes. My must-have is the music because I can't do silence.
Silence. I know.
I'm like, if someone's standing in the living room, they're just kind of looking around. I'm like, so.
Yeah.
You know, I have to inquire and
Totally.
engage in conversation. The music helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. If I had to choose, it would be music for me. Craziest request a buyer has ever made.
Just a question, maybe, have you ever sold any homes with ghosts in them? And I'm like, I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I would have to disclose it, you know, but no one's told me. I have done an inspection for clients. I don't know if they move forward. This was for a colleague. That's why I don't know if they move forward, but, and there was a small cemetery in the backyard with like 3. And I was like, that is a choice.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
choice.
that home is not for everybody.
Yeah,
But
that's a choice.
yeah.
You're gonna have a family of ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh my God, wow. What is one renovation that never pays back or is just not worth it?
The first thing that came to mind was like a really loud, crazy tile. Because it can be really polarizing. But I'm trying to think of something a little more interesting.
Yeah.
I have clients who wanted more space or wanted a bigger bedroom. So they knocked down a wall and combined 2 bedrooms, which for them was great. But you just devalued the home because you took away an entire bedroom.
That's so true.
That's tough. I have encountered, you know, a former owner had started to build a wall, you know, in the middle of a main living area to kind of do an electronics room. That wasn't like you couldn't spend time in there. It would just be where all the technology lived, you know, but it was probably going to be 4 or 5 feet big.
Wow.
Or wide, and you just took away a lot of, you know, space that could be living room space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, I'm like, oh, I wish you hadn't done that.
No, that makes
You know?
sense. So things that are like, I guess, choices that would be very personal to someone or personal to your specific
Yes.
family, but is probably not going to work for like the average Joe if you
Yeah.
plan to sell it.
Yeah. You know, choosing a really intense color to paint your cabinets. That
Or pink.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot. Like a plum. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like a
no.
really polarizing color.
I was just
and you're
thinking like purple, because purple or like lavender is my favorite color. But yeah, when I put it on my kitchen cabinets, I would love that. But if I'm trying to sell the place in a few years, no.
Yes, or doing it yourself. I am all about save money. But yeah, a lot of DIY projects gone south. A lot of paint where it shouldn't be that won't come off, you know.
Yeah. Oh boy.
To conclude, you know, make your home your own. But this is why it's really important to hire an agent, you know, when you go to sell, who can kind of come in, emotion removed, you know, personal investment removed, and just kind of say, I think you would be a little more well received if we painted these white.
Yeah, exactly.
This is your choice, but
So funny.
yeah.
Well, you're amazing and this was amazing.